Welcome to the Time Attack final then, and right now on track we have our Clubman Pocket Rocket and Run What You Brung classes. Somebody earlier on asking what that little blue and black car is, and that is a Xenos E10R. And for the final, as a special treat, we're joined by Susie. Hello, Susie. What's going on?
Hi, Alexi. Yeah, it's been an eventful day.
Yeah, so those of you who watched the build-up, that's what I'm going to call it. It sounds very grandiose, but those of you who watched the build-up, it was Susie who you saw in the pit lane interviewing the various drivers, and from what I understand, there are a few stories that she'll be filling us in on during the course of this session, if we do get a chance. Yeah, so there we go. So this session is underway then. While our drivers get up to speed, Susie, is there anything interesting that we should miss Tim Bedford doing what he does best, getting a little bit sideways there? But yeah, what should we know? What's interesting?
Oh, right. We're in the low classes. Who have we got? So the good news is that Eden Young in the micro now has brakes. He hasn't had brakes previously, Donington, but he assures me he does now, which is a very good thing. Tend to help a little bit on track. Looking at the lineup.
Hey, hang on, Eden Young's missing a spoiler.
So yes, he apparently has been told that maybe the spoiler is what's slowing him down. So a few little adjustments, and that is now completely removed from the car. So we will see how he goes.
Okay, that is because I think it was in a WhatsApp group or something, but I did see someone say, one of his colleagues saying, "Why don't you remove the spoiler?" And it's a very big wing. It's a bit of a parachute on a car with only 100 horsepower. So it'll be interesting. Look at it. It's just completely different. It looks naked now. So interesting. Okay, I'm just trying to bring up the stream again, but failing to do so. So never mind. Let's have the timing screen up instead. So Chris Butcher then is looking to have lost a bit of ground to Gassman in the GR Yaris. Single round entry here in Clubman Plus is Alex Gassman in the String Theory Garage Toyota GR Yaris, a car that we saw out earlier on during the GDM Legends Parade. A car that is perhaps a little bit too new to be considered a legend, but I think it's one that we can all agree will be a future legend for sure. In 2021, you just do not get cars like that. And Eden Young's car looking a little bit smoky there. That's blue smoke out of the back of that micro, which is not what you want to see. Hopefully nothing too bad. I think they mentioned it did have a few oil burning issues, and they're just kind of getting on with it. So it'll be interesting to watch Eden Young in the GizFab Micra, whether he manages to finally crack that 1 minute target that he set himself. You can see a little puff of smoke again out of the back. It's like the Mercedes Grand Prix cars when they used to burn oil with their petrol to go that full Grand Prix distance, or allegedly so. Perhaps that's what Eden Young is doing here as well. So he comes across the line. Let's see whether he's managed to crack that 1 minute. Doesn't look like it. Again, 1 minute 0.6 of a second, so he's ever so close, but not quite close enough. But of course, it's early days. We've still got 9 minutes of this session remaining. Let's see whether he manages to improve. I can hear a lot of tire screaming just in the microphone now, so I wonder what's going on there.
It's been interesting talking to the guys in the pits as well. Lots of reports of the track being quite slippery today, and I think conditions have changed quite a lot through the day. So even though it's stayed dry, I think you've got the drift cars out there, you've got the rubber kind of being laid down by them, the Civic racing cars as well. So it's been an interesting day for people. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether people manage to find the grip in the final.
I mean, just looking at this Honda Civic here as it comes round, you can hear it chirping away. These tires are working. They're making good contact with the tarmac, and they're pulling it around quite convincingly. So let's just showing as Eden Young comes across the line, fails to improve. Yeah, that's that Honda Civic. Yeah, it's like you said, the track does seem to have gripped up a lot more. And you can even see just how sunny and kind of matty it looks. So it does look quite grippy out there. Tim Bedford in that RX-8, regardless of the grip levels, is going to find a way to slide that car around and you can see him just really trying to maximize his grip as he comes out of the exit of Paddock Hill. Undeterred by all the incidents that we've seen throughout the course of the day, Tim Bedford is a very confident and very competent driver, and the way he maximizes the grip levels of those tires, even going just beyond perhaps what most drivers would be comfortable with, is very, very impressive. So if anyone can push those boundaries, it's definitely Tim Bedford in that Richard Henry Motorsport developed machine. Meanwhile, Michael Birch goes fastest of all in this session with a 55.06 second lap, just ahead of Chris Butcher in a 55.08 second. That's 0.02 of a second between these first two front runners. Cars that are very, very different. We've got a straight 4-cylinder front-wheel drive Honda Civic and a V8 powered double the engine rear-wheel drive Lexus ISF. And then just behind them, we have Matthew Rowling in the M&D Racing Honda Civic, the number 836 car, who's been very, very quick all day as well. But of course, is in Runway Brung, is an invitational car, and does not score any points or classify as a result. Alex Gassman putting in good work at the wheel of that Toyota Yaris GR that's on your screen just now. You can see the String Theory branding on the side of that machine, a chassis development and suspension tuning specialist here in the UK. And as part of their development package for the GR Yaris, you can see they're actually competing in this car in Time Attack, and then presumably sharing that expertise in GR Yaris tuning with their paying customers. So great to see such a new chassis being used here. You can see him giving a little flick of the lights. Perhaps that's hazard lights under braking, being such a new car. I'm not sure whether he's thanking drivers.
No, I think he's on a flying lap there. He's really going for it.
Yeah, look, that's just what it does under braking. It's oh, the bonnet's flapping around on the Team Confusion car, the number 9 entry driven today by Lewis Noon. You don't want, hopefully that remains shut. I mean, knowing Team Confusion, they probably cut away everything they possibly can from the inside of that bonnet. And it's possible that it's just flapping around a little bit, given that there's just no meat left to it whatsoever. It weighs as much as this sheet of paper.
I had a catch up with them earlier, and they said there were no issues, and they were very surprised because it's quite unusual for them to have no issues. So, yeah, look, fingers crossed that the bonnet doesn't appear to be an issue for the rest of the session. Definitely.
I think if anyone's had their fair share of hard knocks and troublesome days, it's Team Confusion. So hopefully they manage to get through today without anything too serious. And interesting to see that GR Yaris just flicking its hazards as it breaks into any corner. Because for such a allegedly track-focused car from the factory, that's a bit of an unusual thing to do. But yeah, there you go. Perhaps there's a mode that disactivates that. Who knows? Meanwhile, let's have a look at this little Fiesta ST then in Runway Brung. And this is the car, I presume, of Harry Lee of WG Motorworks. Okay, so WG are actually pals of mine. They've worked on my own cars in the past, and interesting to see them here with a Ford Fiesta ST then today, because generally they were Vauxhall specialists, and these days they're more BMW M car specialists, and yet here they are today with that little Fiesta ST. Very cool to see, representing WG Motorworks in Ramer, Runway Brung. Just behind them is, what is that? I think that's Tom Moon in the Subaru Impreza GC8, then Tim Bedford with the sun setting and now the headlights beaming into the cameras. It becomes a little more difficult to tell what is what. There's Andrew Hawes, I think, in the number 34 Tarox Mini Challenge 210. And just behind him then is Lewis Noon in that Team Confusion machine. And they make their way around Druids. Chris Butcher then, having made some good progress up to the top of the timing screen in the meantime in that Lexus ISF, putting in a best effort so far of 54.7 ahead of Michael Birch in that Tegoet Racing Honda Civic. So Susie, here's a question for you. It looked like Michael Birch had a really serious knock earlier on, and I looked at that car from the commentary box and I thought there's no way that car is going to be back out today. And then yet, is right here being very quick. What's going on?
Yeah, in the first session, yeah, it's not actually nearly as bad as it looks.
Really?
It has been reliably gaffer taped up, you know, the essential toolkit. But yeah, actually, it's just cosmetic. There's nothing kind of structural, and so yeah, it was just. I think Mike said he went a little bit too fast on cold tyres, didn't get enough heat into them, and yeah, unfortunately. Resulted in a little bit of a clip with the barrier, but yeah, not actually as bad as it looks.
Wow, I mean, it happens to the best of us. I think we've all gone too hot on cold tires. But from where I was sat, it looked like the car just didn't look like it was the correct shape anymore. So I thought, have they got a spare chassis? Is that what's going on? So I mean, they've done really well to fix that. But if anyone can, you know, Tegra Racing can. They've got all the spares on the planet when it comes to fast Hondas, so they know what they're doing. Meanwhile, then. We've got Lewis Noon in that Team Confusion car making his way around. You can just see those long shadows being cast. We're truly in golden hour now. Everything baked in that nice afternoony sunset vibes. And there's Manny Bull in the Peugeot 206. Also with his headlights on, just signaling to everyone around that he is on getting a nice bit of slip there from Manny Bull. You can just see how skinny those tires are in a super light car, 110 horsepower thereabouts, and you can see him really putting some good effort there. You can see him, it would look like in the middle of Druids, just changing down a gear, which of course is not what you want to be doing mid-corner, so perhaps maybe a little bit flustered from that sideways moment through Paddock Hill. But I've got to say, great effort there from Manny Bull, and I think anyone who's young and hungry and makes that jump into competition, or even if it's run what you brung, which isn't strictly competitive, big credit to them. You know, it took me until I was about, actually no, I've been competing for a long time, but but I'm sure there are people who wait around for a while before they really jump into it. I mean, yeah, very impressive. I mean, I think my first proper competitive event was age 23 or so I left it a bit late, and I will dangerously assume that Manny Bull's a bit younger than that, and it's great to see that's, you know, someone so young and so passionate taking big risks and you know, deciding to do motorsports. So I love to see it. Meanwhile, that's the number 60 machine of Clive Hopwell, stopped out on track again. The MMT Performance Mini R58 chassis Cooper S.
So Clive was actually saying earlier that he snapped a drive shaft.
Oh,
so
okay.
they've had to go find a replacement drive shaft, 2 hour drive away. They've come back,
wow.
They fixed that, but yeah, unfortunately, he seems to be on the side of the track again.
Dear.
So fingers crossed it's not that drive shaft again.
Yeah, oh, it's probably the other one now. Because you know, if one goes, the other's going to go soon. You know, that's often how these things go. Damn, that's a big shame there for Clive Hopwell. But you know, I'm really thankful that you're here for this session, Susie, because you've got all the gossip, and I'm locked away in a little box like a princess in a tower, and you're my Prince Charming, armed with all the insider knowledge.
That's a new one for me, Alexi.
There you go, there you go. So here we go. Clubman Andrew Hawes from Tim Bedford from Clive Hopwell, again suffering some kind of failure at the end of that. Clubman Plus, Chris Butcher leads the way from Alex Gassman from Hudson from Moon. Michael Hudson there in the Hyundai i30N. Single round entry, and there is Pocket Rocket. So Eden Young, again, not quite getting under that minute. So close. Even taking off the spoiler off did not seem to resolve that or give him that extra time that he needed. But there you go, and here's Run What You Brung, which again is not really classified. Don't score any points, no podiums or anything like that, so don't look too much at these lap times. But yeah, they're here, and it's interesting to look at. You can a lot of these invitational so-called cars. Again, that Honda Civic, very fast indeed. Matthew Rowling's car, so I'm quite interested in what the spec is on that. Very quick, and I think I've seen this car out before at Brands Hatch actually, and it was pretty astonishingly quick then, and it's astonishingly quick now. So great work to a lot of these Run What You Brung drivers for building such formidable cars and driving them so well. And we can see our club cars lining up then. David Dyson at the front of that queue. can't quite make out what that is behind. I mean, the 911 is so iconic that you can just see one molecule of a 911 and you know what it is. But I'm struggling a bit with the other ones behind it. Not that it matters because they're all going to head out. I think that's Michael Birch at the back, isn't it? So you can see that Honda Civic is very much alive and kicking. But yeah, there you go. Just going to take a few minutes, I guess, while we wait for the session to get underway. You can see my timing screen has been cleared. It looks like, are we ahead of schedule? Because it says scheduled start time 16:35. And yeah, we're 4 minutes ahead of schedule. That's miraculous. There's no, like, what timeline is this? It's like that meme where the time traveler goes back and sneezes, and then through the butterfly effect, everything just becomes really wacky in this day and age. And clearly that's happened, because if we're 5 minutes ahead of schedule, something has really disturbed this time-space continuum. But there you go. That's like some kind of BMW M3 behind, isn't it? That's the number 122 Alpina car, allegedly. Susie, do you know anything about this Alpina?
I am not too familiar with it.
Okay. Never mind, it shall remain a mystery. Actually, maybe someone in the comments might know. Maybe. Let's just have a look at what people are saying. 5 comments. Come on, help me out, guys. I hope the Civic that Raul drivers are okay. I think everyone's okay, Ted Beanie. I'm not too sure, actually. Arturus Exurius saying hello. Hey, bro. Good to see you. Shame you're not here with us today, but it's good to see that you're following the stream. Thank you very much. Shout out to GR team. Good luck, guys. Not entirely sure. I think is the delay literally because we're ahead of schedule? Is that what it is? That is the most uncharacteristic delay. I mean, I love it. So okay, that's really good. That's really good. But I mean, I've got to say, the way the day has run today, even with all the red flags and everything, in terms of the session starts, in terms of just getting things done, this day has run remarkably well. And I think massive credit to the team at Go Japan and at Time Attack for putting on such a smooth show for us here. I mean, we're nearly at the end. We can say this now. Yeah. If you said it in the morning, then you'd think you were tempting fate a little bit. Yeah. But it's been a remarkable day, and hopefully, everyone out there enjoying the show has enjoyed it. And of course, alongside, we got a recovery guy. Oh, that's what it is. Clive Hopwell. There we go. I just figured, I thought that would be quicker for some reason. Didn't realize that recovery was still ongoing. But yeah, just big. Let's just have a look. We've got cosplay here as well. I didn't know that. So you got everything here at Go Japan. But an especial thanks to some of our sponsors, Top 10 Performance Giveaways. Go and visit their stall, and you can win a Renault Sport Clio RS200 Cup car. Very, very cool. No, actually, Cup car. Yep, with its 1552 wheels and Bilstein B14 coilovers. You do get £5 off it would appear, if you show them this page of your program, and also just let them know that I sent you their way, Alexi Wood. I met these guys last night, and they're basically friends of mine now. So tell them I said hi. Big shout out to MMT Performance as well. If you have a car of relatively modern vintage, you can take it to them right now and get it remapped and drive home with loads more power, especially if you've got a turbocharged machine. So give MMT Performance a visit as well. And then, of course, don't forget that for all of your car care products, be it lubricants, additives, aerosols, detailing, valeting, adhesives, then go and visit the Power Max stall. And actually, I think it's probably too late now, but I would have quite liked to pay them a visit, because I just keep getting covered in bugs and stuff. Because I haven't mentioned it, but I've got a GR Supra now, and it's got this massive like blobfish nose with a big vertical face where like the round bit of the nose is, and it just catches everything. So you just go out for one, just even on the way to Brands Hatch, it's like a buffet, an all-you-can-eat buffet of dead insects. So if you're an anteater, you'd have a great time. But I'm not an anteater, so I want to get all of that stuff off my car. So probably Power Maxed would have something for me, some kind of bug delete kit. So yeah, if you've got similar problems, then pay them a visit. I don't know if they're still here. It's 4 p.m. But hopefully they are. And thank you to all of our sponsors for supporting Go Japan and Time Attack. And of course, thank you to all of you guys for coming to visit us today. But I'm not signing off. No. I'm just filling time. And with the recovery of Clive Hopwell's car now complete, it looks like we'll be able to resume our Time Attack running any minute now. So there you go. I just heard the sirens go off in the pit lane. The pit lane is now live. The green flag is out, and the cars are now on the move. They're crossing the beam at the end of the pit lane. David Dyson then at the front of that queue.
I am really excited to see how Club 2 Wheel Drive pans out.
It's amazing. I'm so shocked to see, you know, it's been all about the big 6-cylinder German stuff. Yeah. And then out of nowhere, James Dover just comes in and just wrecks havoc. And then
on this brand new engine as well. You know.
It's just complete mic drop moment, isn't it? It's just.
I think with brands, obviously it's a shorter track. You know, you don't have these big straights, so it's really been kind of an equalizer on the cars which are up on up on the power, like the Porsche and the BMW. So it's really great to see James being up there and yeah, absolutely smashing the time. So let's see if he can do it again.
Yep. Super impressive stuff. And it just feels like either he's getting on with that engine really well, or it's just a better engine. I don't really know what it is, but it's just in terms of how he's stepped up his game. Like, he was always kind of up there, but it was always David Dyson and Russ Walker, and then occasionally somebody else, Johnny Fletcher or Jonathan, you know, some. But then James Dover has never been like at the top, and yet here he is.
He's always been close behind the podium guys, though. So I think, like I say, I think the track has been quite an equalizer. So it's really good to see it all mixing up out there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the last session pans out.
It's a really good point. I mean, there's no real straight at Brands Hatch, because even the start-finish straight is like some weird uphill, cambered, you know, just a very, very long corner. So of course, yeah, you know, even if you do pack loads of power, it doesn't matter quite as much here as it does at some of our other venues. So
it looks like a straightforward track, and it's quite easy to pick up, but it's deceptively hard to master and get a perfect lap around Brands Hatch. So and this is James's local track as well. So maybe that's something to do
so he's probably got loads of seat time here. Okay, that explains a lot. If he's a Brands Hatch specialist, I mean, again, it just looks like an innocent little kidney bean when you look at it on the map. But every single corner is just so difficult to get right. With all the uphill and downhill and crests and all that stuff, it's really difficult to nail.
And I think it'll be interesting to see how Sean Amara does as well, because Sean also from Team Delano, and then Sean actually lost fourth gear after the morning session, so they've had to kind of pull apart the gearbox and completely replace fourth gear.
Did they not already have that? Because they had to go and get one of the gearboxes from the Civic Cup.
I think that was James's car.
Was that James's car?
Yeah, Anglesey. So yeah, they've not had the best amount of luck. But, but yeah, amazing that they've replaced the fourth gear on the gearbox and they are back out again. So let's see how they do.
I mean, the standard.
There you go, Sean going into third. So.
There you go. So yeah, I mean, and of course, this is the final, and this is the one that counts, right? So whatever anyone's got up their sleeve, whatever's on the table, they are bringing all of it. So this is where we're finally going to see that full maximum pace from these drivers. If they didn't bring it in qualifying, they're definitely going to bring it now, because this is where you score those big points, and that's going to make the big impact on your championship result. And of course, it's not only about the championship. You just want to do well yourself, right? This is the whole point. So who's this? The number 919 BMW M3 of Ronan Bradley, Team Legacy. So if that livery looks familiar, that color scheme is, we've seen it before on some of Team Legacy's cars. Of course, the super iconic Subaru Legacy that they used to run. And this year they're back in the Adrian, in the BMW M3, two of those, and a Seat Leon Cupra. We saw David Lawrence in Club 2 Wheel Drive in that newer shape Cupra. There he goes, just into Paddock Hill now. And we've got Team Legacy in an older shape Cupra. You know, Russ Walker there he goes in that BMW M4. And Ramis Chapoulis, for me, is another story of the day. You know, after an absence prolonged absence from Time Attack. You know, it might even be up to 2 years. I don't quite remember. You know, he's jumped straight back into it, bringing his spicy Honda firepower, and he's just gone straight up there. Club 2-wheel drive is a very busy class, very competitive class, and I think to manage to climb up there on your comeback is very, very impressive. And James Dover then, look at that, he is right up the top then in that number 400 Honda Integra Type R with the rebuilt engine, having put in a 52.5.
Yeah, so he's just gone straight out and banged in the lapping lead through. You know, he's what, half a second in front of everyone at the moment.
Early days, but he is. Yeah, for now he is. And super impressive stuff. But, you know, like you're saying, Brands Hatch Indy specifically is a track like few others. You know, it's got no real straights. I mean, just look at the camera angle. You can see how cambered this is. It's almost like a NASCAR venue. Just Brands Hatch is just a bowl. You know, these corners are so unusual that your usual form book doesn't apply here. There goes David Dyson, and of course so aware from the day's running that he is not on the pace just yet, and James Dover has really pulled. I mean, I say that relatively, right? David Dyson is still incredibly quick, second fastest overall, second in class, but he's used to being quite happily at the top and not having to fight two cars for that top spot. You know, there's been Russ Walker that he's had to contend with, but now out of nowhere, this Honda Integra of James Dover as well, right up there at the top. And you know, I love to see that actually, because you'd think the big power German 6-cylinder rear-wheel drive track day special being quick is like, it's a bit of a cliche really. And then you got James Dover here in his like little 4-cylinder boosted front-wheel drive Honda, bringing the fight to everyone. It's awesome. This is what Time Attack is all about.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what David Dyson can do in the GC3 to come back.
Yeah, well, he's got to do it quickly because there's 8 minutes left, and of course this is the final session in Club 2-wheel drive. Meanwhile, let's have a look at Club 4.
Oh, it's a big slide.
Oh, there we go. So Ramos then channeling that drifting experience and managing to correct his way out of that. We've seen loads of cars get very hairy through Graham Hill because you're braking and you're going downhill, so your front end is so loaded and you're trying to turn in while that's happening, and so we've seen so many cars go sideways through there. Massive flame out of the back of that car, super cool. And yeah, again, each corner at Brands Hatch is so challenging, and Graham Hill, again, you know, you're needing quite a lot of steering input, and you're doing that when the car is already very light on the back. So big angle there from Ramos, but just managing to correct his way out of that.
And I know Sam Pickering again is leading Club 4-wheel drive. So actually at the end of Donington, which was the last round, he actually broke his engine. So yeah, he would have had to fix that again before this round. He actually spun a bearing at the end of Donington, having actually gotten to the podium. But yeah, that was an unfortunate end to the day. But yeah, so he's back out there and again setting great times. I
mean, he's so quick, and you know, he did run what he brung for a little while, and he was very quick there. But when you've got a completely open rule book, you don't have a control tire, you know, people are just doing whatever they want. It's hard to see, like, yes, you seem quick now, but how do you stack up in a controlled, competitive environment?
Oh, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, go for it.
Sean Amara's just gone into second.
Oh, so my goodness.
This is the Integra's out there, so DC2 and the DC5.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, there we go, David Dyson.
Come back.
Oh my goodness, what a fight this is shaping up to be. We have another 6 3/4 of a minute left.
Oh, and then Jonathan Ellsworth again, just mere kind of like thousands.
Yep. There we go.
It's so close, and that's what's really great to see when you don't know who's going to get on the podium. So it's great to see this fight, and especially in the final as well.
Yeah, because I think previously you could almost guarantee that David Dyson and Johnny Fletcher's off. We saw him come off a little bit earlier on into McLaren or thereabouts.
See if that ends up, what that ends up doing to the track.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed that doesn't cause a red flag.
Big fingers crossed. I mean, he's not that close to. I think that's quite an unusual place to come off. I wouldn't say it's massively likely someone else would do the same thing, but of course our race control have much more experience at this stuff than us. So far the session remains live. obviously there'll be a yellow flag out. It's possible that Johnny Fletcher might be able to get moving again. So when the camera comes around there again, let's have a look. But you know, previously you could basically guarantee that David Dyson and Ross Walker would be on the podium. You could just guarantee it. And now, you don't know if that's going to be the case. For the first time this year, you don't know if, let alone both of them are going to be on the podium. You know if even if one of them is going to be on the podium. David Dyson currently in the pits. I can't see from here whether he's just making tire pressure adjustments or whether he's thinking that is literally the best I can do. I'm going to park it now before I crash it. You know, this is the danger is if you overdrive, it gets very expensive and very crunchy quickly. So if you feel like you are already on your limit, sometimes you've just got to call it a day and think, look, I could not possibly go any faster than this, than falling off the limit. So I'm going to park it now. So that's a great display of maturity from David Dyson, if that is the case, and he remains in the pits. So it looks like the fight is on then between James Dover, Sean O'Mara, Jonathan Ellsworth, and Ross Walker. And then Ramis Chapoulis is still within a second of them as well. That being said, the gaps at Brands Hatch Indy are a little bit more deceptive than usual because it's such a short track. The gaps are naturally very tight because you don't have that mileage to build up a big gap. But nonetheless, our top runners all very, very, very close. Samuel Pickering then fastest in his class, which is Club 4-wheel drive in that Subaru Impreza Type RA. And Susie, he stopped out on track in qualifying, or I think, didn't he, Samuel Pickering? Do you know?
I've not had a chance to catch up.
Oh, okay, because you just came straight into here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't actually even know he was out on track until qualifying. So yeah, I was quite surprised to see him after what had happened at Donington. So
yeah, there you go. So here comes, there we go, Jonathan Ellsworth and Johnny. So Johnny Fletcher then is on the move again. Thankfully, no red flag from him. Yields that track position to Neil Greenland. You can hear him chirping away those tires. That little Mitsubishi Colt scrambling away for grip as they come round Druids and into Graham Hill. Samuel Pickering going faster still in Club 4-wheel drive.
God, this is a real battle for Club 2-wheel drive.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
One, 6 drivers within like less than a second of each other.
And David Dyson's gone back out, so obviously he came in for some kind of little tweak, and he is back out on track. Of course, with 3 minutes left, that is 3 times laps around Brands Hatch Indy, and 3 times laps is 3 more bites at the cherry to get that first place. And with the gaps being as close as they are, he's clearly decided he can find 0.2 of a second somewhere on this lap. And so David Dyson then heading back out to try to seize first place away from James Dover. And meanwhile, Ross Walker then down in 7th overall, 5th in class. This circuit and just day, whatever the situation is, it's not working for Ross Walker. And he's stuck down there with a 53.1 so far. Bearing in mind, that is a very respectable lap time. That is a quick lap time. It's just that Club 2-wheel drive is so incredibly competitive. And especially around a circuit like Brands Hatch Indy, where the margins are so small, you give away a little bit of time and you are really, really going to suffer. And James Dover then clinging on to that first place, goes personal best in both speed traps and in Sector 2, but failing to improve on his best time so far. Samuel Pickering going 2nd fastest in session in a separate class, but nonetheless still weighing into the debate of the overall fight, leapfrogging David Dyson, Sean O'Mara, Jonathan Ellsworth, and a whole bunch of other people to go 2nd fastest overall has Samuel Pickering. So he goes from broken engine at Donington Park to fastest in class here at Brands Hatch and 2nd fastest overall in the club. And all that with 1 3/4 of a minute left, so 2 timed laps if you're lucky.
So yeah, they've got to be down to the last couple of laps. It'll be interesting to see if anyone manages to kind of pick up on their times. Oh look, James has just gone faster again with 52.3.
There we go.
So David Dyson's really got a little bit to do, but let's see if he can manage it in the last couple of laps.
He's got to find 0.3 of a second somewhere, and that's tricky. What's all that gravel? Someone's obviously run a little bit wide there. David Dyson's got a big challenge on his hands, and looking at his lap time, they're all yellow. He's not even setting personal bests there just yet. Super impressive stuff there from James Dover. We haven't actually seen on the cameras much for whatever reason. But there's David Dyson. You can just see him getting a little bit of slip on the exit from Druids, so getting on power early, just trying to pivot that car around itself in that beautiful way that Porsche 911s do. You know, with that rear mid-engine configuration, you just put the power down, especially a GT3 like this. It's got big power, and you could just really change its steering angle just with your...
James has come into the pits, so this is really down to whether David Dyson can make this work on this lap.
There we go. So David Dyson's going to come across the line and begin his final timed lap. So let's try to follow him around and see whether he manages to displace. He set a personal best lap just then, so he's cut that gap down to 0.14 seconds.
But yeah, I think that is the time run out. So see, is there anyone else?
That's it. Well, yes, of course. That's it for the
That's been an amazing result for James. And brand new engine that's
incredible.
He had to change on Monday. Hadn't tested it at all coming into the session.
7 hours of sleep all week.
7 hours of sleep. Turned up. He's run amazingly.
Imagine what he can do if he's had a good sleep.
That's his first podium. And I see Sean is on the podium as well. So great day for Team Delano to get both of the Integras onto the podium.
That's incredible.
It's a fantastic result.
That is incredible. It's like BTCC 2003. You know, what is going on? Why are these Integras so dominant? What is going on? Wow, that was incredible. Great show, great show.
That's great. James is a good friend as well, so I'm really happy to see him do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, again, Club 2-wheel drive just doesn't fail to deliver, does it? Just always
so
on point.
competitive. I mean, look at how close everybody was.
Yeah, 52, 52, 52, 52, 53.1. So again, you know, at the 53.1 again, so our top 6 separated by less than a second.
Yeah, so 0.8 of a second separating 6 people is amazing driving out there.
That was good stuff, good show. And then, of course, Club 4-wheel drive and Run What You Brung. Also featuring this session, but I gotta say, their fight was all in Club 2-wheel drive, and it's been going on all day. Wow, what a development to see James Dover and Sean Amara just weigh into that battle just like that. Because it looked like it would be Ross Walker or David Dyson would just be a shoe-in for the championship. You know, they were doing so. Do you not think so?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's been that way, but like I say, I think the different tracks play to the different cars, and I think with Brands being a shorter track, there's not so many long straights. It's harder to kind of overtake, so I think that's kind of played up a little bit to the strengths of the Integras out there. So
of course, because it's
not amazing handling cars, and you know.
I mean, it's the best handling front-wheel drive ever.
Yeah, and some fantastic driving by James and Sean today.
Definitely. And you know, you're completely right. There's not only the circuit that is quite unique, but also because it's such a short track, the traffic situation is completely unique as well. So that comes into it. Not only how well are you lapping, how well are you handling the traffic too.
You've really got to pick your battles and try and find some clear space out there. That is part of the game of time attack is, you know, you have to get that clear space in order to get a flying lap.
Yeah. Even if you've got to dive into the pits and lose some time trundling down there and hope to come out into fresh air. You know, there's so much strategy and so much thought involved in finding yourself that clear space in time attack. Great effort there from that was very, very impressive stuff. And not a single red flag in that session, I don't think. Nice.
So it'd be great to see what happens in Pro then, because I know Simon Norris was absolutely flying in qualifying. He was.
Tricky to say, because he didn't seem to have anyone really there to challenge him. So there's a point. So Colin, we looked likely we were going to have a nice little fight shaping up between Colin Dorward and Simon Norris. What happened?
Yeah, unfortunately, I caught up with Colin, so he had an oil pump failure. Unfortunately, literally in the first round out today. So I know, we had really high hopes to see him out on track.
Yeah.
He was incredibly fast last time, but had an unfortunate end to his day last time. So it's a real shame not to see him out on track today.
Yeah, as we heard in the build-up, you know.
It's a long journey for him as well, coming down from Scotland.
No,
so
it's
really unfortunate.
Bad times.
Yeah.
And I guess these pro extreme cars are so far removed from what a normal garden variety Mitsubishi would be, then I guess you can't just go down to the motor factories and get another oil pump. You know,
well, I mean, there are plenty of Evos in time attack, so I was kind of hoping he'd be able to find an oil pump locally in the pits. The pits is always super friendly. Other drivers are willing to help out all the time, but unfortunately it's a prototype pump, so he's not been able to find a replacement.
Yeah, damn. Okay, so let's see what happens then this time around. So in this final session, then, just to remind you, we've got Club Pro 2-wheel drive, Club Pro 4-wheel drive, Pro 2-wheel drive, BC Racing Pro 4-wheel drive, GT3 Sports Car and Prototype, and Pro Extreme. And yeah, let's see how this pans out. So actually, GT3 Sports Car and Prototype class is one of my most beloved innovations of time attack. Oops, Susie, looks like we got something to say, actually. What's going on?
No, sorry.
Oh, okay. You looked primed. You were going to like jump in with some insight, but no.
I'm interested to actually see how Darren Spooner does. I was speaking to him earlier.
Okay.
The car looked like he was absolutely flying.
Yeah.
And when I spoke to him earlier, I was really happy with how things are going. And he said he was looking to see if he could go for the lap record. So we will see.
Okay.
I have to look up what the lap record is in the class.
Yeah.
It would be great to see if Darren is able to achieve that today.
Definitely. And, you know, we also have, of course, in this class, Ben Robinson in the Noble M12. And he is, as you know from your own interviews with him, he is very bullish always. You know, he doesn't go to just make up the numbers. He goes to an event to win it. And he has done that in the past. And, of course, Darren Spooner then saying, I don't only want to win, I'm going to win and set the lap record in the process. That's a real challenge.
I think he was saying they were pretty close to where the lap record was already.
Yeah.
So, you know, if it's only a few more tenths of a second, then you're really going out there to see if you can nail that perfect lap. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? So if the car's like playing up well, everything's going according to plan, why not go for it?
Look how wide that aero is on the 205 as well. It's wider than the car. This is the great thing about the pro. I mean, these pro cars are why. This is what put time attack on the map, really, isn't it? If you're not even into this, if you're not even into time attack, you know, in terms of you don't go to the events, you don't really get into all the ins and outs of it, but you know of time attack as a discipline. You know, you conjure up in your mind these big, wide, fire-breathing, space-framed, you know, just super extreme machines, and that's what you start getting into once you come into these pro classes. Had a long day of talking, so I'm just going to have a sip of water. Susie, what's going on here? This is the number 100 car. This is Gary Hayward of AP Tuning. I mean, is there anything much happening in the world of Pro Extreme Evos?
So, I mean, Gary's car's been running all...
Pro Evos, sorry, not even Pro Extreme, all of them.
I mean, there are a lot of Evos out on track, but spoke to Gary, he said, yeah, everything's been running fine, so he's had another, you know, hopefully uneventful day, but the car's running great, so... Yeah, again, he seemed to be flying earlier, so let's see what times he can do today. Andrew Barber, actually, from speaking with...
There we go. Oh, okay.
Just as I say that, I feel like I jinxed him.
Yeah. Commentator's curse. Good save, though. Good save.
Yeah. Well, luckily, you know, you've got the four-wheel drive to pull you out of it. But yeah, I mean, Gary's a great driver. And again, just, you know, putting in a 51.2 with that moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see Simon Norris, as you can see on your screen at the moment, see what time he can do.
I mean, the really tricky thing is, like, yeah, they've got all-wheel drive and all, but when you're looking at this much power, and you've got that all-wheel drive grip, and of course the tires that these guys are running, you know, you get sideways, you put on that opposite lock, and you even touch the gas, it grips up and it just catapults you out into the direction you're opposite locking into.
Yeah, I mean, they're very prone to lift off oversteer, so you know, you still have to, you need the four-wheel drive almost to kind of manhandle them around. But yeah, they're not easy to drive, especially at this power.
I mean, I'd imagine once you're sideways, you probably just want to back off, actually, and just let it...
No, never back off.
Really?
No, you keep your foot in on the Evo. That's, you know, the four-wheel drive will pull you around. If you keep your foot in, it's when you back off. Yeah, if you back off, that's when it's going to go sideways for sure. Be interesting to see Andrew Barber. So Andrew this morning was having some issues. They actually found a crack in the exhaust next to the downpipe. So Andrew hadn't been running full power at all this morning.
Okay,
so
that's what I was wondering.
They managed to get a weld. They managed to get that welded up. So somebody went off site and got a welding kit, brought that back. They've welded that up, so they got out for qualifying. You saw much faster times from Andrew. So, but obviously he hasn't had the sessions in the morning to kind of get to grips with the car on the track. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what time he can go out and set today.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Brands Hatch for us is our local round, but even when we travel a little bit further afield in the past when we did Time Attack, if the day is going horribly, you think, right, lads, that's it, let's call it a day. But when you've come from Scotland for one day of Time Attack, you are not going to let a cracked manifold stop you. You're going to go out and learn to weld, buy a welder. That Evo's looking a bit smoky.
I think it's, you know, everyone trying to help out each other, and I think James Dover, they managed to retrieve a welding kit from his unit. So,
yeah.
You know, it's testament to what Time Attack is like. That everyone is really helpful in the pits. You know, it's a really friendly race series, and everyone wants to see everyone doing well because they're not kind of competing. They're just competing with trying to set their own fastest time. So it's
in a way.
They're you know, but it's good to have kind of competition.
Yeah,
so it's
it's friendly competition.
It's a great series.
I mean, I think there were. You know, especially you look back to the heyday of Time Attack, and you know when it was you know, Black Mamba and all the Pro Extreme cars and all of this stuff. You know, you're going back a good few years, and it all started getting quite intense. I feel, you know, very, especially the extreme cars. That was very competitive, and I think nowadays, in one sense, in terms of the spirit in the paddock, Time Attack's in a real golden era. Just in terms of, it's just such a nice place to be. Everyone's so friendly. Everyone's so helpful. It's great. Time Attack just goes from strength to strength.
Yeah, and it's definitely not like that in all racing, so it's great that it's like that in Time Attack.
Definitely. Here we go, Gary Plant then in that 927 Club Pro 4-wheel drive Mitsubishi Evo 5 single round entry. I mean, Susie, do you know all of the Evos here?
Pretty much. You know, there's a lot of Evos out on track. It seems to be Time Attack is a place where they dominate. So yeah, I've spoken to everyone.
Why do you think that is? In brief, why is the Evo such a popular platform here?
It's an easy platform to modify, to get big power from. It, you know, it's costs quite a lot of money, but you know, it's relatively simple. I say simple. It's not inexpensive. But yeah, to get that, there are so many cars running that it's a tried and tested platform, basically.
Yeah, I guess so. And yet you have people like Simon Norris who are still managing to pioneer stuff. Very cool. So there you go, Darren Spooner then cocking a wheel as he comes through Druids, looking to set that lap record as he threatened to do earlier on. Of course, much to the frustration perhaps of Ben Robinson, who is hotly gunning for that win as well. Darren Spooner saying, nah, man, I don't even want the win. I want the lap record. That's why I'm here. And let's see if he manages to pull that off. Clearly, when he spoke to Susie, he had a bit more pace up his sleeve. And he thinks he's in with a shot of getting that lap record.
I'm not sure what's going on, because I can't see any of his lap times. Oh no, I've only just seen a lap time from him.
Okay, Darren, so actually that's because he's quite far down right now. So Darren Spooner currently 7th fastest in class. Sorry, 7th fastest overall. And
fastest in class.
He's fastest in he's fastest in Club Pro 2.
But it looks like that was the first lap that was registered on the system.
Okay. Because yeah, of course, there's so many of like the 4-wheel drive and extremes in front that it actually overall puts him quite far down. So that threw me off a little bit. But in terms of Club Pro 4-wheel drive, you know, you discount the big Evos, and of course he's going very quickly indeed. And let's not discount also, we're talking about Evos, there's also Paul Doyle in the BC Racing Subaru Impreza in Pro Extreme, 2nd in class behind Simon Norris.
Paul always seems to have a story to tell, so yeah, obviously in Donington they ended up having to fix a broken gearbox, and today they were having problems, they think, with the centre diff. So the car was only running rear-wheel drive earlier on.
Oh, wow.
So they took that out, then they thought there was a problem with the prop. Then they looked at that and then actually found out there was a problem with the rear diff, so they have replaced the rear diff. So actually, they didn't know if they were going to get back on track, so they've done pretty well to kind of like replace all of that and get back out on track. again, an eventful day for them.
Yeah. I remember seeing the rear wing collapse on that car when it was at Canwell Park. I think it was last year. It was making so much downforce from that ridiculous wing that it snapped its own supports. Yeah, they're really pushing the boundaries with that thing. Interesting. So Richard Hampstead here in the comments says, "Come on, Norris. TA record." Now,
it's got a little way to go. I think the TA record, I believe, for Pro Extreme class is still held by the SVA Imports Evo.
It's below 45 seconds, isn't it?
It is. I think it's pretty much 45 seconds dead.
Okay.
Or maybe like 0.005 or something. So it's
okay. He's got some way to go.
He's about a second off. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's currently in the pits.
And that's going to
well.
be tough. And that record has stood for a long time. I think that was set back in 2014. I think so. Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Yeah, I think that car was also, because I remember we did a little tie-up with Project Cars a while ago, and I think the SVA Imports car was
in Project Cars. Yes,
did you work on that car?
I did work.
Oh, there we go.
Yes.
Okay, so you know firsthand. Okay, I thought that car was in there because we played a lot of it during lockdown. That's quite cool to use some time attack machinery in that. Right, so let's have a look at what's going on there as the sun begins to set. It's been setting for a while. As the sun continues to set here at Brands Hatch Indy, we have 4.5 minutes of the session remaining. That is the number 127 car of Bradley John, single round entry in that Mitsubishi Evo 9.
See Paul Doyle.
There we go. There's Paul Doyle with that
new rear diff.
Yeah, new rear diff. Headlights firmly on, just to tell everyone he is not messing around right now. He is not going to yield to anybody. You can see little chunks of tire just flying off there. These pro cars are allowed, in fact, I think they're encouraged, even mandated, to run slicks. And you can see chunks of it just flying off there as he came around Druids. And you can just see how massive that spoiler is, and just how tiny the rear wing, I should say, and how tiny those supports are, of course, in the pursuit of weight reduction. Those are tiny wing mounts. And you can see how they pushed it so far to the point of collapse at Cadwell Park, because they are really taking out every single picogram they can, and it seems like they found a good balance with this current setup. That being said, Paul Doyle still a little bit off first place in class in Pro Extreme, but
he's going to be hard pressed to catch up with Simon Norris.
I mean, it's going to be hard for anyone to catch up with Simon. I mean, yeah, very quick, isn't it? Both the car and the driver. But you know, Paul Doyle is giving it a good old go. Current fastest time of 50.2 as he heads now into the uphill second sector. On the tail of that two-door Impreza Type R of Ian Pittman, the number 81 car.
Ian Pittman has had his son and his daughter do some illustrations on the side of his car, and it's amazing.
Oh, that's nice.
To recall.
Give me a genre at least. Is it a dog? Is it a car?
There are lots of things, but
okay.
One of the comments from his daughter is "Go fast, but not too fast."
Oh. So they look quite young, I presume. Have I just insulted?
8 and 10.
Okay, they're not like grown adults who just
so that's
haven't just insulted them.
That's
they are
Ian's
children.
livery today.
Okay, that's a really nice touch, actually. Because they are his main supporters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly, I like that. That's really nice. So what's this? 927 then. This is the car of Gary Plant. Gary Plant, I should say. No R in there. GR Performance Mitsubishi Evo 5. Another single round entry. But I mean, I think he's done the whole season by this point as Gary Plant in that car. And he goes, oh, there we go, getting very sideways there. The blue Evo of Gary Hayward. Just coming out of Graham Hill again, so easily done. As you come into that braking zone downhill, you need a lot of steering input, and it's so easy to get it crossed towards the exit. But you know, with you can just kind of straighten out, get on the power, and it will pull itself clear in the case of these all-wheel drives.
See, Andrew Barber there seems to be on a flying lap, so they're down to the last, just over a minute. So
yeah.
Let's see what times they can do. It's down to a 48.8.
Okay, yeah, there we go. So some great driving there, and Yeah, you know, if you're lucky, you'll finish off this lap, and then, you know, you've got loads of time for one more.
It looks like the world is holding together well, so that's good news.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Big. Oh, Graham Hill. Every single time it catches somebody out. But luckily, I mean, if that was it wasn't intentional, I'm sure. It was intentional to not crash. But to just dive off the racing line towards the inside like that, intentional or not, was surely very, very handy for the running of this session, because that means that we don't have a car stuck in anywhere it shouldn't be. Big flame out of the side of Roman Grandil's car, running that yellow cross on the back of his car, which I thought he's actually done 5 events, but I guess not. But yeah, what an incident. Graham Hill has been catching out so many drivers. And we've been talking about, oh yeah, it's been rubbering in all day. We've got the Civics, we've got this, that, the Drifters, and so on. I mean, has it really rubbered in? Because people are still falling off of Graham Hill like nobody's business.
Like you say, you've got all the weight on the front wheels. It makes the back incredibly light as you turn in, so it makes the back really easy to rotate. So yeah, it can just catch people out if they try too hard.
Graham Hill is super tricky to, and then sometimes you see some maniac trying to overtake on Graham Hill. I mean, generally speaking, I think people are intelligent enough to know that you don't do that, just because it's just such a tricky corner to get one car through, let alone two side by side. Very, very tricky corner.
See what Roman manages to do in the Audi.
Yep.
It's great to see an Audi.
Oh, of course, because you've got one of these.
That's my daily driver.
Almost.
It's not quite the same as Roman's.
Not quite the same. But I just realized, yeah, you've got that kinship with Roman Grandil in the Audi S3 as well. And
his time's still running, so I don't think that last time has
gone
across the line.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, he's up to 1 minute 12. It could be something to do with our own system over here, because yeah, he's here as having put in a 56 just now. So personal best there from Roman Grandil on his final lap. So that's good to see, that constant journey of improvement, and that's what Time Attack is all about, isn't it? You're improving yourself as a driver, you're improving your build, you're improving your know-how of how to build. And so our drivers then, having taken the checkered flag, now coming into Parc Fermé. Let's just review these results, and then we'll be signing off. It's just another day. They sure do fly, these, although I must say, the Go Japan show was quite intense. I think there was a lot happening today. Great day as always, but
it's great to see shows happening again as well.
Yeah,
life hopefully
definitely.
getting a little bit back to normality.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about other countries, but in the UK it seems like we're just kind of back to normal in a way. So to have the crowds and like the shows and like, let's just pretend, you know, I just want to believe that that's it. You know, we're back to normal. It feels that way. It's so great. And we can see everybody here in the pit lane. Again, we're going to get these results up any minute now, and that's going to round up our, yeah, I mean, Susie's completely right, and I think most of our previous rounds have had some kind of, you know, overshadow by, you know, the current situation, but this just feels like normality. It feels so good. But there you go. These are your results. Darren Spooner then winning Club Pro two-wheel drive for the 51.1. Not sure what that means in terms of the lap record. Club Pro four-wheel drive, there you go. Ian Pittman at the top of that class allure, 52nd.9.
So his daughter's advice to not go too fast.
Not too fast. Not too fast. He's got exactly
fast enough.
Goldilocks speed. Simon Norris then at the top of Pro Extreme. And then GT3 Sports Car Prototype only had Stephen Henson in today in the 996 GT3 Cup. And then Pro two-wheel drive, Luke Senjakovsky in the Honda Civic FN2. And then BC Racing Pro four-wheel drive, Andy Barber there right at the top, ahead of Gary. That's quite a close one for the most part, actually.
Yeah.
That was great
four
fun.
drivers within a second of each other.
So there we go. So that was another day, another dollar. Thank you, Susie, for jumping in for the final session. That was great fun commentating with you. Hope that the viewers here on the trackside and on the streams have enjoyed. And we'll see you next time. Susie, thank you.
I'll see you at Snetson.
Yeah. Thanks very much, guys. And we'll see you next time.